Hey everybody, it's Vicki here from honestmum.com. I'm a little bit early, we've still got a minute, but I thought I'd just start the live and give people a chance to tune in. I've got lots of your questions. So I'm Vicki, I'm a mum of two, I'm a blogger and a vlogger over at honestmum.com. I've just had parents' evening actually, so I'm going to be chatting to you about my tips. I'm going to be answering your questions. I've got my phone here and I'm going to be checking for all your questions as they come along. I've even got some already. That I'll be covering tonight, and I just want to be able to help you guys. So feel free to leave comments here, do engage, do ask me questions. So Monday night was my parents' evening. So I've got two children, two little boys, Oliver and Alexander, that are 7 and 4. And we've moved cities, we've moved to new schools. My youngest has just started reception, and I have to say this is the first time on a parents' evening that I haven't cried. And I said that whilst I was there, and Peter was like, my husband was like, there's still time, because it's an emotional time. It's a highly charged time. You, as parents, we are so invested in our kids. We send them off to school and we don't really know a lot about what they get up to. It's hard to get a lot out of children, especially reception children. And it's one of those times where you feel like you're a little bit on show in a sense, and whatever you're going to hear makes you feel a bit vulnerable as well. So I know that because I'm a mum. So hi to everyone that's just tuned in. I'm Vicki from honestmum.com. I'm a blogger, I'm a vlogger. It's a pleasure to be collaborating with LeapFrog and LeapStart. Got my LeapStart here, which my kids absolutely love. So we'll be talking about that soon. And obviously I want to give you my tips on parents' evening. So I know a lot of you have got parents' evening coming up. We've just had ours. A lot of schools only give you 5 to 10 minutes, and that's not because they want to be difficult, but because there's so many parents to get through, so many people to see. So they essentially, it's almost like when you go to the doctors, and doctors tend to only have 10 minutes with you. I've got some tips for you. I would say, number one, be prepared. So what I do is, and I do this a lot, is I always have a notepad with me and I write out the questions. So even tonight, before I did this live, I scribbled down all the points so that I wouldn't forget them. And that's really what you should do, number one, before you go to parents' evening. Have you got specific questions you want to ask your teacher? I'm presuming you do. So my youngest has just started reception, and it's quite hard to get lots out of him when he comes back. You know, he's still very young in many ways. So I was very reliant on his teacher to, give me that insight. And my priority really is he settling in well? Does he have friends? He was telling me he had no friends, which I knew wasn't true because he'd already had a party invite. I could see when the school brought me into stuff that, he was interacting with kids and he had friends. So, but it was good to chat to her. And obviously, we do want to know how our kids faring educationally. Are they reaching targets? Are they doing okay? Although we've got homework, it's good to find out. So go prepared. Have you got specific questions? Also, if you've got things that you're worried about and you feel you're going to need extra time for, ask for extra time. They might not be able to give it to you on the evening, but all schools have got time in which to set aside to see parents, to discuss things. So even if you've only got 5 minutes, don't freak out about that. Try and get as much out of it. And by the way, some parents don't show up on parents' evening. So we actually ended up getting like 15, 20 minutes because parents just didn't come that had structured an appointment. So you don't know, you might get lucky. The other thing is, write these down, and if you're going with a partner, then share the load in a way, share the questions. I know that with myself, my husband, it was good because he was asking things that I hadn't thought of as well, and I really would but be realistic. Know you've got a short time. Know if there's excess problems or other things that you want more thorough chat about, schedule that in. Say to them, email whatever afterwards, follow it up. Maybe something you've thought of comes to you later. I had something that I'd forgotten on the night and I actually asked the teacher the following day. Just approach it, be positive. So that goes to my second thing. Hello everybody, by the way. Hi Carla, hi Hannah. I'm going to be answering lots of questions shortly. Yes, take your pen and paper, take your notepad. And don't be shy even to take it out. I mean, teachers are human beings and they want the best for you and they want the best for your kids as well. Do appreciate that they'll probably be a little bit stressed on the night. So they'll be seeing lots of people, they'll be thinking about lots of things, they'll have their own targets to meet as well in delivering certain messages. So, you know, don't expect them to be sort of superhuman just because they're teachers. Do be calm. That's number 2. Says the mama who cries a lot at parents' evening. Just usually if I hear anything good, like my eyes well up or anything, I'm quite emotional. And that's okay. We care about our kids. Just, you know, find out what you can do as well for your children. What is it that you could be doing outside? Kids get a lot of homework. We know that, even from reception. It was something that I raised with the teacher. And I said, oh, there's lots of homework going on. Is this normal? And, you know, they agreed. There's lots of homework. They're sort of meeting targets themselves. But they're also, you know, they were really understanding as well. And they gave us a lot of insight into what goes on at school and ways that we can help. And I think that's the key question. Ask them, what can I be doing to help? And obviously there's lots of ways that you can help children. Obviously LeapFrog's Leap Start is an amazing way. So we've been using this. Alexander started school in September in reception. Oliver started in year 3. So over the summer, they were helping each other. They were trying it out. There's loads of books here, amazing books we've got here. And what this does is, as a system, is it supports school learning, everything from logic and reasoning to geography, maths, reading, literacy, all those things. And you can switch up all the books. So there's lots of different books here. And let me just see, make sure I'm holding them up correctly. And it's the most important thing is with Leap Start is, and you can see the box behind me, they help children learn through play. So my children, unlike homework, let's be honest, my children are asking, where's the Leap Start? What can we do? And they're doing it together. They're helping each other. And that's really a wonderful way, because for me, I want my kids to have fun, and we're learning about maths when we're baking, so that it's like measuring stuff and it's not regarded as sort of homework that doesn't feel kinesthetic. So they're moving around, they're doing things, but also they're enjoying it. And that's exactly what Leap Start does. So, you know, get the Leap Start, bake the cake and eat the cake, get them really involved. So thanks for all these questions. So essentially, get to the parents' evening. If you've got it this week, well, I've already had mine, as I said. And I'm Honest Mum, by the way, if you're just tuning in. Hi, I want to help answer your questions. We've had lots and lots of questions already. So I will be pulling those up soon. And obviously I can see lots here as well. So perfect for both my girls, 2 and 6. Yes. So this is ideal for preschool up to the age of 7, and my 7-year-old absolutely loves them, and he loves also helping Alexander because it makes him feel like a teacher as well. And there's loads and loads of different books. It makes maths fun, there's geography, there's all different things that and it's really easy to use, really easy for them to grip hold of a pen and open out. So let's get back to parents' evening. So number 1, get organized, get your little notepad, get the questions that you want to ask. Is there something you're particularly worried about? Are you worried that your child's not settling in at school? Has he not got many friends? Do you want to know how quickly he should be reading or she should be reading? That, you know, there's all different things that might be on your mind. If your children are older, so like I've got a child in year 3, I had questions, as well as the fact that he moves schools, but also just to find out, well, you know, is he meeting the targets? How does he fare next to other children? Because that's something you don't really know as a parent. They come home, yes, they put them into tiers a lot of the time, so you know how they're faring, but it's just a good idea. And most importantly, what you can be doing to support them. You know, and that was kind of a big thing for me. And I knew that with the Leap Start, I'm helping them a lot, but I wanted to hear from the teacher how I could support their learning as well. So that's really important. And I would say, we mentioned this before about keeping calm. So I'm seeing lots of questions here, and I'm going to get some through my phone as well very shortly, because I know that lots of people have been asking things as well. Someone asked, is it important to go to parents' evening? Number one, this is a brilliant opportunity for you to get that one-to-one time with teachers, which can be hard. It's not impossible, of course. You can always request time, especially if you've got something that you're worried about or you feel that your child might need extra support in school. But this is tailored to you. Schools want you to be there, and it's your chance to get that precious time with their teacher and somebody that's getting to know them. It's also a very important time for you to share things. So, for example, Alexander's form teacher had said to me that he's quite different to how we describe him. So at home, he's quite confident and outgoing and likes to be a bit of the performer. But she's noticed that at school, he's quite shy and it takes time for him to come forward. And that was really interesting for us. And it was a chance for me to say, well, how can we maybe make him feel more confident or more supported? And we were able to have this two-way conversation. So remember, it is a two-way conversation. So, yes, so Sue's saying the reading levels used to confuse me. I'll have to ask at parents' evening. Exactly, like ask them for insight. Something that, ask them if they can give you links to YouTube videos, to like school resources. A lot of schools have got, things that they push out to parents, and ask them. So I'm just going to check on my phone for the questions, because I know that these are coming through as well, because I'm doing it from my laptop. So don't be afraid. You're not meant to know everything. And equally, you're not meant to be a teacher either. That's why your kids go to school. So whilst I actually did used to be a teacher, funnily enough, but even then it was GCSE English and then it was university students. So it's very different to me teaching my kids. Whilst I have some insight, it's important for me to be able to know from them and let them lead and guide me. So yeah, exactly. So let me just see, someone saying, so lots of you have got it soon coming up. I would obviously recommend getting the Leap Start. That's a great way at helping you. I'm just going to have a look for more questions here and answers. Do be proactive. Don't be scared to ask them what you can do to help your own kids. And obviously know that they do want the best for your child. They're not there to antagonize you. And if they do say something you don't agree with, you can ask for further clarity. You can ask them to explain, what they mean. I think it's very hard to put your emotions aside in terms of it's your own child, it's your, it's hard. You can't be objective, but I think you do have to go there and start feeling, a little bit more, how can I not get so emotional, and how can I do the best for my child? Right, I'm going to pull open some of the questions, but if you've got any questions specifically that you want me to ask, then please do send them over, and then I can help answer all of your questions, find out when are your parents' evenings and what are your concerns. Let me just say, I'll open these. Let me find out. Let me know what are your worries? Is there anything going on? Someone's saying, Jade saying, I'm worried about my daughter's nursery. Is it rude to make them aware that staff to child ratio is wrong? Will I seem obnoxious? Listen, there's never there's nothing wrong here. If you're concerned about something, whether it's the ratio or what's going on, it's in your interest. You're paying the nursery. Your child's attending a school, state or otherwise. If you're worried about anything, you have every right to politely ask. And there's ways of wording things so that people don't go on the defensive and feel threatened. So they can set, you can ask them, oh, I was just wondering, I'm concerned about the ratio. Can you let me know what it is? And whether that seems, I'm just concerned, are there enough staff here? Or you don't have to use the words that you're concerned. You can just ask, a factual question and say, I was just wondering, what is the ratio? I'm not sure what it is, and I'd like some more clarity on that. But of course, I understand that sometimes it can feel like you are being difficult when you're trying to ask questions, when you want to find out, but ultimately you just want the best for your child and you want to make sure that they're happy. I do think that, there is a lot of pressure on us as parents and on children. There's lots of exams and there's SATs and there's lots of goals to be reached, but most teachers are caring. They want the best we can. They want the child to enjoy the school years as well, because children always learn better if they're having fun and if they're doing things. I mean, some of the homework that Alexander in particular has had recently, learning about the seasons and it's really great because it's got him out and we've got to collect leaves and conkers and things, and it's really fun homework, and I think that once the child's taking pleasure in it, it really makes it fun. So we've got some more stuff here as well, some more questions. I'm worried I look a bit like a crazy mum. Not at all. I mean, these teachers know are all attached to our kids, and actually it makes you a good parent, that you care about your children, that you want the best for them. I'm sure the school that my kids go to think that I'm the mum with all the questions, and and that's fine. I'm happy to be the mum with all the questions. I do want to know as much as I can about my kids, and we have every right to, so please don't feel worried about that. Yes, they might say to you, the time's running out. I would say when it comes to the questions as well, try and prioritize the most important things. So there's something really worrying you about your child, is he or she got a problem that needs to be addressed, or is there something particular with the learning you might feel they need more support, or that they're saying to you that they're not getting enough attention or whatever, then address that first, prioritize those questions. So when you write your little list, make sure the things that you're concerned about are at the top, and then leave things that are less important to the end, so that if you were to get cut off or you don't have a lot of time, it's fine because you've asked the important things. So if you're just joining in now, I'm Honest Mum from honestmum.com. I'm collaborating with LeapFrog. This is a great learning system which supports your children. It gives you insight, and it allows your kids to learn through play. It comes with lots of different books. It's from age 2 to 7, and it supports the school curriculum. So your children will be having fun and learning, and that will help them with science, maths, literacy, geography, but also logic and reasoning, things that, quite hard to teach if you and I were just kind of inventing stuff that the kids were going to do at home. And it comes with lots of different books here. The maths one, there's all different ones here. I've got loads. My kids were actually playing with it earlier, and I'd massively recommend it. I'm really choosy about the products that my kids use, and it's a great price, only $39.99. But what you get for that, and the fact that you can keep replacing the books and stuff, is amazing. And my 7-year-old, who's going to be 8 in January, use it all the time. So it really will support and grow, and it will help your preschoolers as well from nursery. Because one thing that I found, I was quite nervous before Xander started school, and especially when Oliver, my first, started school. I had no clue. He was in nursery. Nobody really tells you anything, do they, or prepares you. I didn't feel that nursery teachers, not Alexander's but Oliver's, didn't really give me a lot of insight. So I sort of felt like, wow, what's going to happen when he starts school? Something like this really does prepare you. It helps you feel empowered to help your child, and I think that's what's really useful. It's a text system, a learning system that doesn't feel really hard, because let me tell you, year 3 maths feels hard to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, fractions. And whereas this is, you'll get your head around it. It's really exciting. It's really proactive. Like, it gets them really engaged. Interactive, not proactive. And the kids are helping each other. So Oliver and Xander are helping each other, and that's a really lovely thing. And it just grows with your kid. So I've got lots of questions, and they come through ping, ping, ping through the phone as well, so that I don't have to keep looking distracted. But so someone's asked, so when we advertised this was going live, we were inundated with questions. So whilst I'll answer some in real time as well, I'm going to cover a lot of these questions. We've got over half an hour left. If you're just joining now, hello and welcome, and don't be scared about Parents' Evening. I promise you will leave feeling empowered. And if you feel like there's still question marks and you're not sure, you will follow up, because that's a very important point. Whilst we want you to be prepared, we want you to be calm, we want you to ask what you can do at home, and we want you to ask those burning questions you've got, we also want you to follow up if there's something that you don't feel was covered. Don't be scared to do that. So someone's asking, can I ask to see my child's work at Parents' Evening? Absolutely. So at our Parents' Evening, the work was all laid out for us. We were offered to look through exercise books and, anything we wanted to look at. There were loads of things on the wall. And that was really precious, because not all these books come home. So you see the homework book, but there was so much that I could see, and there were loads of photographs, because schools have to document so much now. They document you know, children at playtime, they document them doing projects. There was a beautiful thing that my eldest had done where they were looking at islands, and we were able to look at his work in geography, and it was just, it gave me insight, because my kids are very different at school than they are at home. I mean, touch wood, they're very well behaved at school, I've been told, but so they leave all the squabbling for home time. So it's really nice to see what they were doing, and also stuff that we'd prepared for homework, like a project, how that then panned out at school through photography and things. So do ask to see the work if that's not given to you. And often it's not within that time slot. So your 5 to 10 minutes that you'll get with the teacher is one-on-one, and then looking at the work happens after or before. So don't feel, oh my gosh, I've got to rush through that work. Generally, that's not the case. So Rebecca's saying, if your child doesn't like something or doesn't enjoy certain subjects, then tell the teacher. Yeah, I mean, just be honest and say, my child's not enjoying this, but also look for a solution. Is there a way I could be doing something to help support them? So maybe if it's something to do with geography, could we do a little fun project on the weekend? Look, I get it. We're inundated with helping them with homework anyway. We'll also want them to have fun and lives and all those other things. But there are ways to support your child. I didn't love maths at school. I passed maths. I did well. It was fine. I didn't enjoy it. And when I look at the way maths is taught now and how sort of visual it is and the tools that they use, and obviously things like the LeapFrog and how exciting it is to use a maths one and dynamic, it wasn't like that when I was at school. And I wish it was. But now we do have resources. We do have links to go on other sites. We do have brilliant tech systems, learning systems like LeapFrog. So talk to your teacher and be honest. They'll probably know that your kid's not enjoying it because they're not leaping out of the chair wanting to be engaged and stuff. So actually it shows awareness of your child, and you might also equally be able to shed light on your child. So for example, stuff might be going on at home. I mean, I was saying to my son's reception teacher when she'd mentioned that sometimes he's quite shy or he doesn't always rush to do stuff, I said, you know, this is the first time that, obviously she knows the first time he's at school, but I said he's moved cities, he's had change, we've moved house, you know, so I think it's going to take him a little bit of time to come out of his shell, because this is what's gone on at home. And sometimes it takes you to remind your teacher about that. They don't always remember that every single child in that class's backstory. Or if something's happened, you've lost someone in the family, or there's something going on, there's more stress, that will affect your child. And maybe, you know, even if you don't want to share too much, but be honest about what's going on, because as much as teachers can shed light on your child, you can shed light on them as well. So don't be, you know, don't be scared to say that. Right. So someone's asking, what is a good way to encourage children to work hard at school? Oh gosh, that's a really good question. I mean, with my children, it's like, obviously with Oliver, he does love school and he loves studying and stuff. I think with Xander, he would love to just be home with me every day. Like, he's been poorly this week and he said to me, Mummy, I'm so happy being with you. And he's actually one of the eldest in the class. He's 5. So he got a whole extra year with me. So whilst he did part-time nursery, he got loads of extra time with me. And he is admittedly a mummy's boy. So I knew school would be quite hard for him. I knew, not hard, he is enjoying it. He's made friends. It's a great thing for him. But I knew that those apron strings were really strong. And for me as well, it was really emotional for me to kind of let go. It is hard. There's no easy answers. But I think that him seeing his sibling, his elder brother, doing well, and also bringing the homework time together has been really useful. If you don't have a sibling, you've got an only child, you could do reward charts where you can say, when we do this homework, when you work hard at school and you're trying, don't just look at achievements and goals, like look at progress and look at happiness, because those things are so important. Like, are you having fun? It's the same with me, you know, it's the same with everyone in our jobs. We need to ask ourselves, are we having fun? Like, because I think there is a big emphasis on exams with kids, but actually, you know, I think it's also important not to put too much pressure on them and to let them enjoy too. So I think it's that balance. Reward charts are good thing, and it doesn't just have to be like money stuff or pocket money. We have a reward chart where we say, okay, if we do this by, you know, in 2 months, we're going to go see Santa at this really cool place, or we're going to do this. It's kind of like an experience thing. So think about things that your child loves and what you can do for them. So it says, is it better to leave the kids at home if you're talking about them? I don't want to put them down by talking about their struggles in front of them. So most schools don't want the child sat there, even reception. So in ours, they had like a movie was on in the hall, and there was a teacher that looked after all the children. So we brought both the kids together, but they weren't in the room when we talked about them. That is the ideal. I suppose speak to your school. Some of them will say, bring them in. Others will say, you know, we can't, whatever, we can't have them there. So there's a room, there'll be something. They're not going to leave them on their own. It is better if they don't have to sit there, because there's ways to talk about your children afterwards with them in a way that doesn't maybe feel, I mean, obviously, also the teachers might be a bit more guarded as well. So that's the other thing. So let's see what else. Rebecca's saying, reward charts don't work in my house. I wish they did. Are there experiences that you can do? I think lots of praise and rewards really important. And even if it's not a reward chart, it's just generally giving them a lot of praise and love for the small steps that they do, even if it doesn't mean they don't have to be the top of the class, they don't have to be doing stuff, but just having that sense of pride. Like, we all want to be valued, don't we? So as long, and I'm sure that's what you're doing anyway with your children, but I think sometimes it's a reminder, because we're stressed in everyday life. So it's just one of those things to keep going. You're doing really well, and I'm really proud of you. That's what I try and tell my kids all the time. One of my children, Oliver, had to move 2 schools when we moved, because there was a school switch so that they could both be in the same school. And I remember feeling very emotional about that, but reminding him, this is great, and this is character building, and this is great. You've made friends there, now you're going to another school. And I think it's just really about kind of making them, talking to them with respect and understanding them as well. Another thing is, I noticed that they're tired because they've started school, or they've gone back at term, and they're tired, and they're a bit more restless, and they're a bit more argumentative. And the natural thing is for us to be like, everything's going wrong, and you end up reacting to that. And we've all been there, and I've been there. But I do think it's really important to remember, wow, they're starting, it's hard work, and all those kind of things. So yeah, let me know. And I know there's lots of questions here. Sam's saying she loves LeapFrog. They really do educate. They're amazing, absolutely amazing. Have you, like, let me know if you've got any other questions. I do have some more here. Hi, if you're just joining in, Vicki with LeapFrog UK, chatting about parent evening tips and helping you. So there's tons and tons of questions here. Someone says, my daughter reads a lot at home, and I know she can read better than the stage she's at school. Should I mention this? Yes, do. Listen, if you feel that your child is being put back, or is not being stimulated enough, or is not getting the support, please raise that. I remember when I was at primary school, I moved from one primary school to the next, and I was ahead of them in the books, and the teachers were trying to put me back. And my mum was like, no, you know, this is not a standard. Please support that. And you know what? We do have to champion our kids, and we do also have to, in the same way that we have to raise if there's issues, we also have to, you know, speak up if we feel that they're not being catered to, or if they might need to be on a different level. And obviously the teacher can chat to you, and if you're still not sure, then you can ask for a follow-up. You can raise it with the head of department, you can speak to the head teacher. There are all these people in place, and you know, a hierarchy in place, so that you can get the support. So someone else is saying, I sometimes feel as though the teacher says the same things to all parents. How can I ensure the feedback is specific to my child? Well, I mean, I would think that any good teacher would make it very specific and wouldn't be general. I think if you're worried about that, please, you know, I don't know, raise something that's very specific to your own child and ask for that question to be answered. I really hope that teachers don't do that. I don't know, maybe a group of children that are similar or have got similar learning things, you might find that they're similar things that are said because they're meeting similar targets. But on the whole, usually a teacher will distinguish and differentiate. And if you feel that they're not, make it personal. Ask them for personal things about your child. Should I ask my child if there's anything she would like me to ask a teacher? Yes, amazing. Ask your child. Say, I'm off to parents' evening. What should I ask the teacher? Or is there something you're worried about? My kids tend to tell me their problems usually when I'm driving, because they're looking at the back of my head and it tends to be not as intense as like face to face, they always seem to like reveal stuff that they're worried about in the car. They do at dinner time as well. Do usually bedtime. Those are the key times when they talk to me. So maybe look at those and see if you can initiate those discussions. If they're not coming forward, leave it and broach it again a bit later. But it might be worth saying, I'm going to be meeting your teacher. I'm going to be chatting to her or him. Is there something you want mummy to ask or daddy to ask that maybe you don't want to ask? Is there anything that's worrying you? You're not going to get in trouble. Reassure, make sure they're aware of that. And that is a great thing, actually. Someone saying, our first parents meeting is this Thursday. What is the best tip you could give us, please? I think it's to listen, because often we go in there very worried, naturally, because we're mums and dads, and we want to chat about our kids and we want to sort of prove something almost, especially if they come to us with criticism. We want to defend, which is very, very natural and very normal. I feel it, you feel it, we all feel it. But I think the real key thing is to listen and try not to react emotionally, which I know is very hard. Like when the reception teacher was saying to me, oh, Alexander, you know, when I asked him what he did at the weekend, he couldn't remember. And I felt, oh, Xander, you've given me all these amazing stories at home and you tell me all these things and your vocabulary is great, but you're not doing that at school. And you feel defensive. But actually, you need to listen and you need to say, well, why is that? And you need to question that. And then when you come home, you need to say, with this specific example, Xander, your teachers told me that you're not really coming forward a lot. You're maybe a bit shy. Do you feel scared to speak up? Are you not as comfortable? Or if that seems too intense, just say, let's practice talking up a bit and putting our hand up. And in the same way that you get your child ready so that they can go to the loo solo, so that they can hold a knife and fork before school, often we do also need to practice the hands up and speaking up. I know that when we do a singing time that parents are invited to in the school, and he is painfully shy, and that's not the child that I know at home. So I'm trying to untangle this, and I'm thinking as he gets more used to school, he will come out of his shell in the same way that we see him here. So try not to stress. So the best tip is don't worry. And also with the reception kids, it's only the first few weeks of school. Don't worry, they're still going to do well. Everybody learns to read in the end. Everybody's supported and things will work out. So try not to stress. I know how, this is the mum that cries at parents' evening, but I know how it is. So let's have a look at some more questions. What are the best questions to ask? I always walk out and say to myself, I should have asked that. Yes, me too. So I think for me, the key questions are, is my child settling in all right? How is he interacting or she interacting with other, other children? Do they listen in class and are they responsive? And also, of course, are they meeting targets? Are they achieving? How do they stand compared to the other children in that class? Is there something that I can be doing? Is there something that maybe we could be doing together? So those are the questions, really, because you want a happy child, you want a supported child, you want an emotionally safe child as well as a physically safe child. And also you want to hear about what they're doing in the classroom, because you don't get to see that at home. Some schools use like Tapestry software where they can give you pictures and you can see what's going on at school. Others will let you have the homework books back so you get an insight. Some will share pictures. But this is your chance to sit in that classroom, almost like your child sits there every day, and get a feeling. And you can speak to that teacher in a trusted, calm environment. Remember, teach the people. They're trying their best as much as we are. So what are the advantages of supporting your child's learning at home, and how can you do this while staying on track with the same curriculum and expectations from school? So here we've got the Leap Start from LeapFrog, which is $13.99. That's the recommended retail price. You can buy it online at leapstart.co.uk as well, and from all great toy retailers. This is a brilliant bridge that gaps between the bridges between academia at school and academic learning fun, that's the key thing, at home. So this is from age 2 to 7. It comes in this green box here, which you can see, and it's got 400 replayable activities for school and life. And I love that bit that it says it's for life as well, because this is giving children lessons that they can learn everything from logic, reasoning to geography. Let's just have a look at some of these books. Absolutely amazing. And what's been great is we started them from preschool, and Oliver, who's in year 3, is using it, and they're using it together, and it allows them to play all these great games in a learning system that really, as you can see here, that supports them and feels super, super fun. It's not like, it's not me saying this, it's fun for me as well. It's fun for me to get involved with them, but they absolutely love it. And they've been doing it together. So if you've got siblings, it's a great way, and you can take it around with you and take it out with you because it's in a little thing. And this goes inside, by the way. So we put it in the car, we take it with us on holiday. It's a great way to learn because you're supporting the curriculum. It's not just, here's an iPad, here's a phone to play on. These are specific learning games that will support your child, and they cover so much: geography, maths, literacy, reasoning, all the things that your children should be meeting, and they follow the curriculum, and they're backed by so many teachers and schools. That's the important thing. So we've got also, I mean, there's problem solving here. This is a preschool one that Xander was using, and he's still using even though he started reception. There's other things here. There's primary school sampler book. So this is maths, and it gives you all the different, and it talks to the kids as well. That's the thing. So this is not only, it's interactive, but it's also super engaging, and it's fun, and it allows us to get active because we want to play a part in their learning journey as well. And it's brilliant. And here we've got this other one here that says science, technology, engineering, and maths problem solving. It's got all different levels, so you get the books and they grow with your child. And if your child finds that they've moved on, you get the next book, or sometimes they might want to spend longer on a level. I know that when we were doing this preschool activity with Xander with the shapes and colours, he loved it so much he wanted to keep doing it and moving back to it. And I think look at the graphics, look at the illustrations. They're really, really beautiful and so engaging for children. And I think that's the key, isn't it, to learning, because we want them to really enjoy it. And this is the box here. And as you can see, there's a new stylus, which helps them with the grip. And yeah, my children absolutely love it. Keeps the mind active. It also is guilt-free for parents. That's the thing that I love, because often, you know, if you just give them the phone or whatever and say, watch this, I'm ironing, or I was cooking earlier, I don't feel guilty because they're learning whilst I'm busy being a mum boss and doing a million other things. So I think, yeah, I would wholeheartedly recommend this. Support the learning. Let me see, I've got some more questions. Thank you so much, everybody. If you're just tuning in now, I'm giving you Parents' Evening Tips. If you've got questions, leave them down here. And of course, I'm getting loads through on my phone. So these are from when we advertised it earlier, and lots of people were emailing and messaging. So let me go through. My child gets a bit too much homework and I worry he doesn't get enough time to relax. How would you suggest I approach this with the teacher? So this was my concern as well. There's a lot of homework, and actually the teachers they have this in the curriculum. This is set by the government. This is not, you know, necessarily the school wanting to give loads and loads of homework. And it is a worry because you want your kids to relax. I think, you know, discuss openly that you feel that there's a lot of homework, but also understand that these are targets that are set for them and they have to follow that. And it's best practice for them to do so. It's best practice for you to do that. I would say try and make homework time fun, as fun as you can. I know it can get stressful. I've got a year 3 boy who is perfectionist, and he gets very upset if things aren't correct. And it's hard for us parents because we do want them to have downtime. I would say try and ensure that every night you are getting out. So after school for pickup, whether it's rain, snow, whatever, we go out for a long walk to decompress after school. I think it's about having gaps and space in between that time from home and homework, so that, you know, maybe start a ritual where it's eating dinner and then it's time to do some homework. Introduce games like this as well. So, you know, these educational games with LeapFrog, so that it feels like they're having fun, and especially because you want to keep them encouraging them and for learning to be a pleasure. So that's my advice there. Yeah, we all feel it. Let me just have a look. So Jade Rice, you asked about extra books. There's a big range of books available with such as Paw Patrol, Trolls, PJ Masks, check out leapfrog.co.uk for more details on the books, and anyone else that wants to find out any other stuff to do with the Leap Start. So Lola's going to ask, my kids behave differently at home and the teachers always mention they're shy and quiet in class. Do I need to worry? Not at all, Lola. This is exactly the same as what I've got with my little one. He is a performer. He loves being on the stage. He had drama lessons. Yeah, his teacher's telling me this is not the child they see at school. Every child will react differently in their environment. How old are your kids? Because, you know, maybe there's a way to get them doing some after school activity or getting them involved in a society at school or a club, that sports or drama or dance or anything that will bring them out of their shell, help them feel more confident. And of course, doing things like the Leap Start books and stuff, whereby you're with them and praising them and supporting them will build confidence. Do you chat to your teacher as well and say, look, my child's quite different. I wonder why this is. Is there anything going on at school that might be affecting it? Is there a child that might be louder than my child that's maybe making him or her feel a bit more in their shell? Could we move them around in the classroom so that encourage them with other friends? There's lots of ways to problem solve, and I think that's the key. Don't feel that you are powerless, that you can't go in and say to teachers, this is what I want to, you know, I'm worried. Your worries are vital, important, and you should be supported. And so that's what I would say. I wouldn't worry. I would chat to your children. I would chat to the school, and I'd work out ways to make them feel happier in school or more themselves, or to come out their shell a bit more, and look at practical ways that will support that as well. So let me just see, lots and lots of questions. So feel my child's homework is a bit too easy. Do you think I should discuss this with the teacher? That's an interesting one. Yes, do so. Say that they're zooming through the homework. You know, obviously support with additional things like the Leap Start, but do ask them and say that, and say, you know, should I be going to the library? The library's a great resource as well. Like, go and get books out. Find, you know, don't allow your child, if your child, this is the thing, if your child is zooming through, they're going to get bored, and sometimes children will misbehave if they're bored. Just ask my mum when I was at school. So I mean, really do talk to them, because this is an issue if you are feeling that they're going back. So is it better to leave the kids at home if you're talking about them? Yeah, so I would say, you know, if you can get a babysitter or someone to look after them, or the school should have, most schools will have an area where kids can go and wait, so that you're not, so you don't have them sat right next to you. So someone else is saying, am I allowed to arrange further appointments with my teacher outside of specific parents' evenings? So I would say, of course, 100%, please do that. If you feel that it's not long enough, that you want to discuss something else in more detail, if you feel that your child needs extra support and you want to discuss what's in place for that child, or your child might have learning difficulties and you want to know what their setup would be there, or if you know, there's a million things that you might want to discuss, please arrange an appointment. Most of the time you can just email, or you can say to them at the session, I would really like to follow up on this, or there's some things that you've raised here that I don't feel we have enough time tonight to discuss. What is the protocol and procedure? They will help you, and please don't feel that you don't have that. Every single school will support that. So I'm just having a look here. Sue's saying that her daughter feels the same. She really beats herself up. That's why I think it's really important that not all children are going to like all subjects. So it's really important that you do things that are pleasurable and joyful, that gets them loving education in a very consistent way. And that's why things like LeapFrog's Leap Start are really important, because it means that you can keep them having fun and feeling like they're achieving, even if they might not be achieving to the same you know, in every subject, but at least they'll find something that they like with this, or focus on, you know, areas. So what I'll do is, like, so for example, I really loved English at school, but I wasn't keen on maths. When I was doing maths, it would really, like, it would damp my confidence. I'd get frustrated. But I always remember, my mum was a teacher as well, and I always remember her saying, well, let's do something that you like as well, and sort of sandwich it in. And I think that's something that I do with my own kids. So you could sandwich in with some Leap Start stuff. And obviously this is following the curriculum. So there's no way, it's not like it's something that is completely going to support you. So let's have a look at some more questions. Rebecca's saying we make homework as part of our evening routine. It's done as soon as they come home, so it's done and they can relax. Well, that's another great way of doing it. So either you let them decompress and chill out and then do the homework, or you get it done whilst they're, you know, you get home, let's get it out of the way, then we can watch telly, we can play on the Leap Start if we want before bed, we can go and have a bath, we can do our routine. One thing, kids do like routine, they do like rituals, it allows them to know where they are, and I think that's really important. So for us, as soon as we come home, we get into comfy clothes or PJs, usually it's comfy clothes, you know, then it's dinner time, and then it's a bit of homework, and then if they've got time, they will watch something on TV, or they'll watch something quickly, and then it's bath, bed. And that's pretty much been the routine for as long as I can remember. Obviously, they didn't have homework when they were at nursery, but, you know, it's that routine of, and they know where they stand, so that when they go to bed, they sleep really well, they're relaxed. And also we talk about any problems that might have happened in the day, usually over dinner or at bath time, and we work out ways. So I know with Oliver, if he's got any problems, if he knows that I'm going to send an email to the teacher or I'm going to discuss it the next day, he sleeps easy. And I think it's really about that, isn't it? If they're worried about the homework or they've got any concerns, you talk to them about it and you set out a plan of action to how this can be resolved. And how we've also got a little worry box as well. So if there are any worries, we write them down, or I write them down, we put them in the box, and then it allows them to chill and not be so stressed before going to bed. So I'm really glad, Lola, that these tips are helping you. Yes, there's definitely more pressure on children. It doesn't mean that we should feel disempowered. We can support them, and also just be realistic. You know, they're not meeting every target, and these targets seem unrealistic, then that's okay. You know, they're going at their own pace, they're all going to do well in the end. And I think it's just feeling reassured, and it's having those open channels of communication with teachers. So let's see what other people are saying. It's Reese saying, would the Leap Start be good for my daughter who's in reception? 100%. She loves to learn, is doing very well, but hates it if she does get anything wrong. She also loves facts and learning about how things should work. I also have a nearly 2-year-old. Yes. So this Leap Start is from 2 till 7. We used it in preschool. It is interactive, engaging, and can brilliant prep for before you go to school, whilst you're at school. It grows with the child, it supports the curriculum. I can't recommend it enough. If you want to go to honestmum.com or Google Leap Start Honest Mum, you will see our reviews, you'll see pictures of my kids loving it. They ask for it, and they've never asked for homework, but they regularly ask for this, and I think that's really wonderful. And it supports all those things like maths and geography and science and reading. And one thing that's been so lovely is, since we've been using this, Oliver loves reading anyway, but I see that love has multiplied, and you know, he's desperate for more and more books, and I think so. Not only will it help in a very practical sense and to support the curriculum and make the kids have a lot of fun, but it opens up this beautiful, imaginative, creative world for your kids that kind of acts as a catalyst for them to learn even more. And I think that is a precious gift. I feel really lucky that we've got this product that helps us. So hi everybody, by the way, ask away. We have got about 10 minutes, maybe a bit more left. So please do ask your questions. Yeah, Sue's saying that it really builds confidence going to clubs, and I think that's a really good thing. If you can get your child some clubs, or if you can chat to the school, so often they give children roles in the class as well, and sometimes that helps them become more confident. If they can become like a school counsellor or a recycling ambassador, or whatever it is that you've got going at your school. Sometimes children just need, in the same way as we as adults, we need someone to say, can you do this? We're going to take a risk on you. We're going to give you a promotion. We're going to do this in order for you to reach out of your comfort zone and achieve. And I think that that's a really precious thing for kids. And if they're not doing it in school because they can't for whatever reason, or they don't have these roles, or it's not that time in the year, then you doing it at home, like saying, do you know what, I'm going to give you this responsibility. I think that can really, you can see a lot of growth in your kids, whether it's, you know, I'm going to let you help mummy bake this cake, or we're going to create this present, or I'm going to give you a job that you're going to be responsible for, even if that's siblings, you know, doing something with the younger child. Just giving them a little bit of trust, obviously in a safe way, and you're managing that, can often make children bloom and come out of their shells a lot and stuff. So, and you know your child best, and I think that's really important when you go to parents' evening. Yes, your teachers have got to know them. Yes, they've got to know them in an environment where they want to get the best out of them academically, but nobody knows your bambinos like you do. And I think it's just about, you know, making sure that and you can also give them the insight that they might need and support them with stuff. They might not know that your child has nightmares, and that might make them more tired in the morning, or that they hate being rushed, or that, you know, communicate. So how can I optimize the time during my 5-minute parents' evening appointment? Oh my gosh, talk really, really fast like I do. 5 minutes is no time at all. Mine was about 10 to 15. I think that use it as a springboard. If you have got bigger things, do follow up. Don't expect them to follow up. They've got lots of kids. You take that responsibility, you follow up. But also, you know, maybe start by asking them rather than you talking a lot, but maybe saying, please tell me about how Katie's settling in. Please tell me about Joey. And then just let them give you that insight, because actually you can follow up in a longer thing. You can send emails, but the real precious sort of insight is from them. So let them speak and really kind of listen. So Anika's saying, does it teach phonics? Yes, it teaches maths, literacy, phonics, science, problem solving, and much more through the activity books. So, you know, phonics is a really crucial thing. It's a great way to support them. Get your lead starts, guys. So, someone else is saying, my daughter's been upset that another pupil has been repeatedly awarded star reader. I'd love some advice on how to broach this. So yeah, I mean, I remember there was a kid at a school that I went to, and she always got the best parts in drama, and I really wanted to have the parts. And I remember feeling it, you know, like it was always her. And that is demoralizing for a child. But sometimes, you know, I'm sure teachers, their job is to be fair, and I would like to think that the majority, if not all, teachers are working at best practice, being as fair as possible. But sometimes it's easy, in the same way we might do that ourselves. Like I remember as a director, if I'd worked with an actor that was brilliant, because I used to be a TV director, if something else was coming up and you have a track record with that actor, it's easy to say, oh yeah, well, why don't we cast, you know, Brian in that role, or whoever. And sometimes that can happen because we're all humans. And actually, it takes parents, you do have to say, hi there, is it possible for my child to have a speaking part in this? Or, you know, can you let us know? If you don't want to go in and like attack and be like, oh, Sarah was always made the reader, star reader. Why is it my child? Instead, word it like, so I've noticed, you know, John hasn't been a star reader yet. What is it that we need to be doing in order to get him that prize and to help build his confidence? And work out why you want him to be the star reader, because obviously you want him to feel good about himself. But are there ways that you could be giving him sort of that reassurance without that? I know it's hard. Every child wants a badge. Every child wants to be class pupil. It's about explaining to them, you know, and also they've got to learn that they can't always win either. Like that's the reality. And that's a really precious lesson. To be a good loser is a vital lesson. It's something that I learned very early on. It's informed me throughout my career. You know, that we're not in this always to win. We're not. We're in this to learn and to grow. And often we learn from our mistakes. In fact, we always learn from our mistakes. So I think lead by example, be the example that you want to set for yourself, and talk to your kids in that way and say, you know, whilst it's great to be star reader, we're progressing. We're not doing this for badges. You know, we're doing this so that we can learn to read, so that we can feel knowledgeable, so that we can eventually get a great job. And I know sometimes that sounds wacky, but I think kids are a lot more mature than we often assume. I remember I always try and say to my kids, look, I'm working now, mummy's working. Why is mummy working? I'm working on the kitchen table because I want to earn money so that you guys can have good things. And I think, you know, and when they know that, they really appreciate that. They're like, okay, mummy's working now. I think just explain in simple terms and and they will understand. It is hard. There's no easy answers there, but it also gives them a motivating goal. And do raise it and say, you know, we do. If you feel that it's really unfair, just say, just wondering, this particular pupil seems to always get this prize, and my child's raised it. It'd be great to hear your thoughts on this. Don't attack. Go in and ask questions. Someone's saying, how do I get the teacher to take in what I'm saying? I find they're busy and flustered, and I'm not sure they take much on board. It is hard. They will be busy. A lot of teachers will be flustered. They probably have a big queue of parents. They've got lots of things going on. I think it's just really important that, they will listen if we try not to be defensive. And I know that's hard. I say that as a parent. I think if you're calm, it will bring about a sense of calm generally to that meeting. I think that if there are things, you should reassure them as well and say, look, I realize I've got a bigger thing that I want to discuss with you. I know it's hard to chat. Let's do this another time and let me know how. And then that will, so if you're broaching something quite delicate and a big issue or a bigger thing than is possible to be covered in that time, let them know that you know that, because I think they'll be thinking, oh gosh, this is a really big subject, I'm not sure I've got time. Or say to them, I realise you probably don't have time to discuss this, but I'm worried that my child might need dyslexia test, or he's not happy, or there's a particular child that's upsetting him. What's best to deal with this? You know, be reasonable. And which you all are. I know you're reasonable. Woo! So our first parents' evening is just after half term. However, it's only 10 minutes long. How can I use this time effectively? So this is a question we've been asked a lot. I would say plan what you're going to ask, get in there, listen to what they have to say, let them talk to you, because they know that their job is about talking to you about your child. So let them do that, and then question them and find out some other stuff, you know, and delve a bit deeper. Have your children done any reading ability assessments at school? The books my son has been given at school are a bit hard. I'm worried it's hindering his confidence. So because I've got a child in reception, he's learning to read now, so there's not really been tests per se, as far as I know, because it's very much at the early stages of learning, and obviously we're using the LeapFrog to help him with that as well. But my year 3 child has had a test, because when he joined the school, they gave him ability test. She did really well in, thankfully, and he's doing well. But I understand that, so you're asking, it's a bit hard. So then I would speak to your teacher about that and say, we're not sure if the levels of the book is the right level for him. He seems to be struggling. Is there a way that he can maybe have a different book? And if so, maybe that will give him a confidence boost, because sometimes it just means going down a book or two, getting him excited about reading, or even getting him excited about a story. There's been storybooks in the past at my son's old school that bored him, so of course he wasn't that interested in reading it. So I went to the library, or I used other books like from the LeapFrog, and got him interested in reading again, rather than, and then he was able to progress. So I think it's just about having that discussion, but also being proactive at home and going, okay, he's not that interested in the homework book that he's got, but I'm going to get the books from LeapFrog that I know he's going to love and is going to help his reading. So yeah, it's you can definitely support that. So we've had absolutely loads of questions. We've got one more here. We do have 4 more minutes, so if you do want to ask any questions, get them in. Saying, we're experiencing family issues at home, which I'm concerned may be having a knock-on negative effect on my child's performance at school. Should I openly mention this to the teacher? Well, firstly, I'm really sorry to hear about these family issues. We've been there last year. I had a very close family member that was very ill, and of course that affected my children. They were more emotional. They saw that I was upset all the time, and that I'm still upset about various things, and I think that is important. I mentioned to my reception teacher, I'm currently grieving at the moment from losing a close family member, and I said to the teachers, you know, this is what's happened. Obviously I'm more upset than usual. There is a lot of crying. Tensions are a little bit higher emotionally, so I just want you to know, be proactive, tell the teacher. And they were like, thank you so much for telling me. The kids haven't done anything out of character yet, but it's good to know, because children can be more reactive. They do absorb stress, they do absorb pain. My 7-year-old's been very upset. So, you know, I think it's really important to be honest. You don't have to go into loads of personal detail. They don't expect that, but be open, chat to them and say, you know, this is what's going on at home, or just say, we're having a very tough time at home. I can't go into the details, but I do need you to know that my child might be affected by this, because we are human and adversity is a normal part of life. And by empowering the teachers, they can then give that child extra support. It might need a bit more extra time. He might lash out. He might need a bit more nurturing, and all these things are important. And also it's giving that child the benefit of the doubt and being a bit more lenient if they're dealing with really tough things. You don't know what's going on in schools. I've got friends that are teachers and they tell me, and also myself as a teacher, I've taught in affluent areas, in socially deprived areas, in all sorts of areas, and you know, there's a lot of children out there but with a lot of stuff on their shoulders, and it's really important that those teachers are informed so that they can best support those kids. When I was informed as a teacher what was going on behind the scenes, it really helped me. It gave me a full picture of that child, a 360 if you like. Don't be scared, and you can always say to a teacher, I'm informing you in confidence. Obviously, if anything's going to affect the safety of that child, the teacher has a responsibility to deal with that. Of course they will. But, you know, if you're telling them something like, oh, we're going through a divorce, or this is happening, or that's happening, it's important the teacher knows that. So definitely do let them know. And it will affect their performance. It will affect the way potentially that they do in class. And as the teacher, they often have procedures and practices in place to help that child talk, to help that. I remember when I was a teacher, the child who's a teenager whose parents were divorcing, and they were, you know, a lot more disruptive in class, and it was just about being able to manage that in a way that didn't feel that I was then attacking that child. Of course, I wouldn't do that anyway, but, you know, that didn't feel when they were more sensitive. So I think it's just, you know, empower that teacher. So, let's see, if there are any other questions, do let me know. It's great that you're all chatting amongst yourselves and supporting yourselves. I think this is a really important conversation to have. It's you know, Parents' Evening is there to empower you guys. Don't feel that you can't help your children as well. Do check out Leap Start. Go to Leap Start, leapfrog.co.uk, and Google Leap Start as well. This is available in leading toy retailers, also online. Obviously the Facebook page which you're on now has got loads of insight and information, and this has helped my children no end, and I know it will help yours too. It's really been a pleasure, guys. I'm sorry if I didn't get to answer all the questions. It's been a fab hour. Please do leave any more questions in the comments. The team at LeapFrog are going to be answering questions as well. And good luck with Parents' Evening. I promise you it's going to be fine. Just, you know, ask the questions, the burning questions. Be calm, be prepared. Work out if there are things that you hear that were not what you expected, or you felt maybe a bit offended by them or whatever. Just realize that everybody's on the same team, that they want to help your child. And rather than reacting emotionally, think, what is it that I can now do to help my child academically, socially, whatever that may be, and know that you and your role is really important. Anyway, guys, lovely to see you all. Good night. Go have a cup of tea now, and I'll catch you next time. Ciao.